Hey guys, Ben here with Stringer Bridge Farm. Today I want to talk about 3 secrets or opportunities for growing grass-fed beef and a few of the struggles that come along with each of those. So raising grass-fed beef is a lot like other things in life where all the information is out there. I think it's really easy to know and understand all the concepts that it takes to be successful, but the real trouble seems to come in executing on those items and making them all work and being fully successful with it. So keep in mind these are all so this one right here is a half Dexter, and the other one I'm finishing right now is a purebred Dexter. I do have a lot of Hereford cows. I've got some Angus cross. I've got some South Pole cross. What it all comes down to, in my opinion, is 3 main things. And the first one I kind of want to talk about is the genetics. So I've gone a bunch of different routes as far as genetics are concerned. I haven't yet settled on anything, but to me, the genetics, the concept is pretty simple. You can go and find the best grass genetic animals in the world, but you're going to run into some problems. One is, if you're like me, you can't afford to just go buy the best, genetically the very best animals. I've seen good bulls that go for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, sometimes even more than that. Personally, I can't afford that, so I've got to start somewhere a little lower than that. And then the other part about genetics is the turnover is so slow. So let's say I do put all the money I can possibly think of into the best grass genetic bull. I go buy them. I don't have a grass-fed beef to sell to a customer for about 3.5, almost 4 years. By the time that cow gets bred, I wait for it to calf, and then I grow that calf out. I'm pushing 38, 40 months, something like that. So that is a very, very difficult thing. So it's slow. So I'm on about my 5th different bull now, and I don't have any calves on the ground from him yet. So it's going to be basically 4 years by the time I get a report back on the quality of the beef. I'll see how his calves grow, their phenotype, what they look like, their behavior, but I won't actually get the true feedback for basically almost 4 years on that animal. So the real challenge, the concept again is simple, but the challenge is in cost to convert your herd into something like that, and then the time it takes to actually see a genetic difference in those animals to get them to maturity is just tremendous. So the turnover is so slow. The second thing is the age. This one's pretty easy to control. It's like this cow right here, or this steer, sorry. If you look at him, I'm gonna butcher him this summer as 100% grass-fed beef. But last year, when he was 2 years old, I would have told you I even made a video about it. I titled it Grass-Fed Failure, because I didn't think he was going to make it based on his genetics. But with time, he's kind of proven me wrong. And I've seen this over and over and over again, that to do grass-fed beef, you've got to put the time in with these animals. So what I've seen is basically I've rarely had any that I thought were good to butcher before they hit probably about 26 to 28 months, but most of them I target butchering them at like 28 to 30 months. And you see huge changes in those animals leading up to that date. If you could wait longer, I think you'd be even better. They just really start putting some weight on when you get close to that 30-month age. So you could control that. There's the other inputs like the genetics and the third point we're going to talk about, but the age is pretty easy to control, but you got to manage number 3 for it to even be worth anything. And so you can see they've been on this section a day, but the third point I've got is you've got to keep some high quality forage underneath these animals. So they've been on this. This was yesterday or the day before when I put them in here. This was about knee-high on me of good ryegrass, clover. They had a little patch of my summer legumes, just absolutely gorgeous forage. And you've 100% got to keep that quality grass under these animals every single day, especially in those last few months leading up to the butcher date for those animals. I don't think there's anything more important. So again, we get to the challenge of that where I'm at in the deep south. I'm in southeast Louisiana. The problem I've got is our summer perennial grasses, which most of Louisiana in the deep south, they'll probably have the same grasses, is Bahia grass and Bermuda grass. And those grasses do not have a high enough protein content for me to finish a quality animal on those grasses, which means I've got to finish my animals while we still have cool season grasses that are growing. So up until about June, maybe July on a cool year, I can finish a steer. But I rely very heavily on ryegrass and clover. And then we get, I don't really know what this is exactly, but there's this grass with these little purple flowers. It looks like some kind of wild alfalfa. I'm sure it won't focus, yeah. But it's flowering right now. But yeah, it grows well too. And then we get some vetch. But I've got to have those cool season grasses to finish my animals that have those higher, you know, over 10, 15, like even the clovers would be like 20% protein. And I have to have those grasses to finish my animals on. So to me, you know, I don't perfectly control the breeding of my animals. I put my bulls in June. And so what that does is that allows me to get like a 2.5-year-old animal, which is about that 30 months, right before we get into the hottest part of our year. So I can finish 30-month-old animals, which is basically like this guy, who's a steer, and here's the other one right here. So yeah, if you can manage your way through those three things, I think you can certainly raise some grass-fed beef. There are other things you can do. So I've never done this because I've got a customer base for grass-fed and for grain-fed. So we do grain finish a few animals. But I have talked to a few people that what they do is they supplement with alfalfa pellets if they have to finish an animal outside of having, you know, excellent grazing. So just as an example, I've got this electric fence. Before I put them in this pasture, because I'm walking around telling you about how good a grass you need, and I haven't rotated the animals yet. But this is basically what they've been on. And I'll keep them on something like this pretty much every day, where it is just thick, lush, giant clover. I say giant clover. It's this is some white clover. We got some crimson clover, and yes, I do have some buttercup mixed in. The cows just eat around it. It doesn't really seem to be a huge problem for me. And this year, for the first time, I planted some summer annuals. We're going to try later in the summer. So I've got 3 steers that'll be going to butcher in August or September. So I may try finishing one on those summer annuals and see how that does. Well, hello to you too. But yeah, they see me walk near that electric fence and they think something good's about to happen. But this is what you want. So this is the left side of the cow. This is rooming. Sorry about my shadow. But basically you can see these cows, they look like they're about to pop. I mean, they're just jammed full of high quality forage, and that is 100% the key. And you can see every single cow is like that. You don't see a death triangle on a single animal. They're just jammed up. And it is the late afternoon, so you know they've probably been laid up. They're just now getting up to feed, and they're already full, and they can't even hardly put another bite in. That's what you want. So these are all bred cows, and you can see the condition on them. They look pretty good. So anyway, to me, that's the 3 biggest things you got to figure out a way to control or manage, and that's you know, your genetics. You always want to be improving. I don't think you'll ever get there. I know I won't. I'll always be looking to improve, and it's slow, so it's just going to be an ongoing process. You got to let those animals get some age on them before you butcher them, and then you absolutely have to keep high quality forage under those animals. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy, and check out some other parts of my channel if you're interested, and like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Catch you guys on the next one.